All
Oh, sorry,
right.
Miss Rita.
All right. No, you're good. You're good. I mean, you had questions. That's what this workshop is about. If you
Yes.
got questions, you can unmute your mic and ask a question. Okay. So anyone else has, hi, Patrona and Joey, I don't know. I
Hi,
guess,
Joey.
yeah, and Melody and Lisa.
Welcome.
Welcome.
So for you, Ashley, this is I'll have give this to Rita where she can disperse this to you guys. But this is a visual, and then I also created like it's very different. So Ashley had some really great questions right before we went actually live and started our recording. She is right now pumping primarily because her baby is not able to get the milk out by latching. And so we kind of talked about she's on day 5 right now. She said she was getting 35 milliliters, which is right in range of where she should be. So we talked about normal expectations. And then we also kind of talked about how she could amplify and ensure that as her baby's demand goes up, that her body is also following that demand. And so my suggestion was for having at least 8 to 12 nursing sessions or pump sessions a day. And that will help. So if she nurses or pumps and it's a good nursing session, that's like a little checkbox that, hey, I had a good session that counts as an order being placed in the restaurant. So this also, if you are needing some information on giving a baby breast milk versus an alternative like formula, it is very different on the amounts that breastfed babies typically take. There's a misconception that as my baby gets older, I have to make all this milk. But if you'll notice right here by the parameters, while it does slightly go up, it's not like you don't see 8 ounces up here. And so our bodies being expected to do that is just not normal. And on average, we're making about 3 to 4 ounces when we have a full milk supply around 3 to 4 weeks, on average every 3 hours, which would be about 8 times a day. So just wanted to make sure that our audience members that may be just joining us were able to get that because you asked some really, really great questions, Ashley, and I want to make sure that our audience had access to that question. She also asked about a nipple shield, and I encouraged her to ensure that it is the proper size. And if she is working on trying to get off of the shield, sometimes we will go up on the nipple shield size to encourage the baby to open their mouth really wide. So just in case someone else in the audience has a similar question to that, I'm going to open the floor back up. This is your guys' session, and I want you guys to be able to come off and ask anything that you may have, any lingering questions.
I have a question. With my first baby, I
Mhm.
didn't have enough information when I was at the hospital.
Okay.
That's why I'm trying to get informed for my
I love
second
it.
one. And I didn't know how to express milk
Okay.
at the hospital. She
Okay.
had a hard time to like breastfeed, and then
Mhm.
the nurse suggested to give me some donor's milk, and I say
Okay.
okay, it's because I wasn't able. I don't know. I didn't know if I was not doing the right thing. I don't know
Mhm.
if I have to start like stimulating my nipples now. I'm like a week away from giving birth.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, and also, I wasn't really informed about the golden hour. They put the
Okay.
baby on top of me and I was just hugging her.
Uh-huh.
But I was reading the other day that it's better to put her on my chest so she can start like breastfeeding right there.
Okay.
So maybe I didn't have that information and I just
Mhm.
don't know if after I do the golden hour and then she's breastfeeding on top of me, um, and after that, how often do I have to express the milk so that way she doesn't have to get donor's milk, or because she wasn't getting like enough wet diapers when we were at the hospital.
Okay. I am so glad, first of all, that you are in this space because I literally have the answer to every question that you're asking me. And so I'm so glad that you are in this space. So I heard you say a couple things, and I'm going to repeat them back. I heard you ask me about how can I do hand expression and get the
Mhm.
milk out. So I'm going to give you a quick demonstration on that. Expectations and normalcy. Our body has already been making milk, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And then I also hear you like, what is the golden hour? So we'll talk about what that golden hour is really quickly and how you can make the most and what the expectation should look like. And then lastly, we'll just kind of touch on if you do have to give outside milk, what you should do in order to encourage your body to continue to make an abundant supply and transition so that you can have these bottles like this. Okay. So expectations really with hand expression. So with hand expression, it is just simply a fancy term for squeezing the milk out of your breast and either feeding that to the baby by syringes or by hand. So in the hospital setting, they're going to have something that looks similar to this. This is a little colostrum catcher. They also make them on Amazon and or different companies make them where they're like this, but you're not going to see this in the hospital. So you would see something like this in the hospital. So when you go to do hand expression, everybody has a sweet spot, and it is literally like an art. So for you, if you're like 39 weeks, I would practice it now only because you're going to feel much more. It's a confidence booster. I wouldn't do it with the intention of like, I got to get milk out so that my baby will do well this time. So just more of a confidence booster, just to be like, okay, I feel really confident. I have this down. Now, if I need to use this tool or this skill, I'm going to go into my journey so much more confident. And it also helps you to see and visualize that you're already making milk. So colostrum is the first milk, and that's being built out since and being made in your body since about 13 weeks. So since your second trimester. So you have this reserve of milk for your baby already that's been curating for 23 weeks, essentially around about, that you're going to now extract. So whenever your placenta come out, which is your afterbirth, it's basically a light switch that tells your body, hey, she's not pregnant anymore. Let's really start making this milk. So with hand expression, and I'm going to come into the camera so you can see me. Your hands are going to kind of line up with your nipple. So this is your areola right here, and this is the nipple. Our fingers are going to come here. So I'm coming right kind of back behind where that areola may be, right behind the nipple, because some areolas are larger. I'm going to come right back behind it, push back into the breast tissue, squeeze forward, push back, squeeze forward, push back, because this is where the baby would latch at. If I go more wide like this, I'm expecting this milk that's way up here, it's got to travel all the way down here. And so while this may work, it's going to probably take a lot longer. And then you also want to kind of just give the breast a very, very, very gentle massage, almost like a pregame. So you're just kind of doing a little warm up. You're doing some gentle massages. What we want to avoid doing is very aggressive, where we're like pushing the breast so hard that it's causing soreness and inflammation to our breast. So it's just very gentle. And you're even going to kind of like move your fingers forward when you're doing it. And you'll start to slowly see the colostrum come out, and then it's kind of like you've broken the barrier. And if it stops flowing, you're going to just go to the other breast. So this can be a very helpful tool once the baby is here if latching doesn't go well, or you could also just do it after you've nursed for dessert. And you can feed that to the baby, or you can save that if it's collected in syringes, and that will help your body to start to make milk quicker. So it's your second baby. So your body is going to recognize, it's like you've already rode a bike. You already know how to do it. So your body will know, okay, we've done this before. It's actually going to have more milk ducts. So you tend to make more milk with each pregnancy. And then you will also start to see your milk transition a little bit quicker. So it's going to go from this colostrum like we have here to this a lot quicker than it did your first pregnancy. During the golden hour, that is intended for bonding. It's intended for skin to skin. It helps regulate the baby's blood sugar. And as you mentioned, that is when we want that first feeding to occur. We want that because the baby comes out and they're very like, whoa, hey, what's happening? Where is my food? I really want you to watch a breast crawl video, because that's exactly what you want to have happening in that first golden hour, where that baby literally has the opportunity to be put up on your chest and crawl their way over to the breast. After that, I would make sure that the baby is not going on that first day. They may be a little bit more sleepy based on how you deliver. So if you have an epidural, that medicine goes into the placenta, they may be a little bit more tired, a little bit more sleepy. So don't count your first day out. The only thing that they need to have is one wet diaper and one poopy diaper. And that clock starts when they're born. So then 24 hours, one wet, one poopy diaper.
Okay.
And then just keep feeding really often. If the baby wants to eat in an hour and a half, very normal. What's going to happen the second night? We're going from here to here to here very quickly. It's like drinking out of a Stanley all day. If you're just taking sips, you're going to be coming to that Stanley cup really often. So that second day, just embrace that the baby is needing to eat very frequently from you in order to help your body make milk. If you were to give donor because you're like scarcity mindset of like, I'm starving my baby, and not realizing that that's a very normal occurrence that they want to eat. And when I say often, I mean every 30 minutes to an hour that second night. So
Okay.
so that is normal. It doesn't mean that they need food from someone else. The only true medical reasons to give formula or donor milk is if the baby is on blood sugar checks, they don't have passing blood sugars. And that's usually if you have blood sugar issues during your pregnancy. The diapers are not at least one the first day. Jaundice levels that is so high that they're trying to flush it out of their system, but we don't usually see that on the first day. Or if in those first 2 weeks they have lost more than 10% of their birth weight.
Okay.
That's it. Those are the true reasons.
And I have another question. If I start getting the colostrum and they give me those colostrum catchers, do they refrigerate the milk, or I just keep it with me and give it to the baby?
Great question. So you could just give it to the baby as dessert. It's going to be good for 6 hours. Some people, so
Oh,
it would look like these little syringes right here. Some people like to save that milk for later if baby gets sick, because it's so potent. The colostrum is full of all the antibodies. So some people like to save some of it for diaper rashes, cut scrapes, eye infections, just prophylactically to have. And some want to just, if your baby is like, you're trying to help them have wet and dirty diapers, I would just give it to the baby. But it can be stored in the refrigerator for 4 to 7 days.
okay.
And it can go in the freezer for 6 months.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
All
So
right.
it can be like in room temperature for 6 hours.
For 6 hours, it can
Okay,
just
I
sit
was
out.
worried about that. I didn't know the
Mhm.
colostrum. I thought maybe colostrum was more like a delicate, like more like
It
um.
actually has more of the antibodies, so it's actually we get a little bit more grace with it.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Thank
Great
you.
questions.
Good questions. Good questions. We just had an Ashley that joined too. Welcome to the call, Ashley. Ashley, so if you do have any questions,
Yes, welcome
feel free to ask.
everybody.
Yeah, ask
Please
questions.
ask me. That is what I'm here for. And I'm also, considering some of the most common questions I get asked. So if one is not just like racking your brain, I will share with you guys some of the like common questions I get asked. But this space is you get access right now to a board certified lactation consultant. I'm Tiffany with Breast Choice Lactation. You have full access to me to ask any of your questions that you have, whether it's exclusively breastfeeding related, nursing, pumping, combination feeding. Any questions you have, I am here to answer them for you guys.
Did you see what Ashley Tolliver dropped in the chat about her throwing out, what was that, 10 milliliters due to thinking it was bad of the colostrum
No,
after two
girl, don't
hours?
be throwing any of that stuff away. No,
Yeah.
6 hours. And so we just covered that. We had someone just joining. I get asked sometimes about the storage of breast milk. If you have expressed it from your body and pumped it or done hand expression, how long can it sit out? For 6 hours, room temperature. If you remember 444, that will help cover you. So 4 to 6 hours, room temperature, 4 to 6 months in the I'm sorry, 4 to 6 days in the refrigerator, or 4 to 7 days in the refrigerator, 4 to 6 months in the freezer. And so if you remember 444, you'll remember 4 hours at least, 4 days at least, 4 months at least. And you get a little bit more than that, but for some people, the 4-4-4 is just the easier rule to follow. Like labor, when you get to 5-5-5, head to the hospital.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead, Ashley. If you want to unmute your mic, feel free.
Hi,
Welcome, Ashley.
hi, thank you so much. So my daughter, she's 6 months old, and I
Okay.
am exclusively still breastfeeding.
Okay.
Um, so she's always taken a bottle
Okay.
her entire life, even like starting like very, very small. My mom's helped me out her entire life. So she's always taken a bottle. And just most recently, she's also teething. She's working on her 2, 4, 5. She's working on her sixth tooth and
Mm-hmm.
she will not take a bottle anymore. So all of a sudden, she just stopped taking a bottle. And of course, mom is supposed to go back to work next week.
Okay. So I
And
will tell you, yeah, go ahead, Ashley. Finish your question. I want to make sure you
so,
get it all out.
yeah, and let me just so we try to give her a bottle. So she takes my boob, obviously fine. We try to give
Uh-huh.
her a bottle, and she literally bites the nipple.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, and she will not take a bottle. Like, and I've tried like different nipples. I've
Mm-hmm.
tried like, I was gonna go and buy like, the bottle that looks like a boob. Like I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
to do. And I don't think it's like she knows that it's the bottle. You know what I mean? Like, cause she
Yeah.
sees it and she's like, oh, and so she just plays with it and she just bites it. I've
Okay.
tried to do like a cup instead. I've
Mm-hmm.
tried to, she wants the boob. Like she just wants the boob.
You want the real deal, okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this happens. This happens sometimes, Ashley. Before this happened, how often was she getting a bottle? Like once a day, once every 3 days?
So she was getting the bottle daily. She was getting the
Okay.
bottle all day. And then I would just feed her at night and her first feed in the morning. I was
Okay.
actually in and out of the hospital in December. So like there was a time where like for like a week and a half and on a week in December, I wasn't even home. Like my mom just had her full time.
Okay.
So she had no problem with taking the bottle. And literally, there was one day, like 2 weeks ago, where I didn't have any milk pumped and I didn't have any formula because I
Mm-hmm.
sometimes supplement with formula if I don't have milk pumped. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
give her a bottle, and all of a sudden now she won't take it. It was one day.
Okay. So with her, I would do a couple of different tactics with her with trying to get her to take a bottle again. The first one you may have already tried, but I would try to feed her the bottle really close to the breast, and then I would, after giving her the breast for a little bit, I would try to do a very quick switcheroo. So that would look something like, let me grab my bottle.
Oh, okay.
So
I
it
haven't
would look
tried that yet.
something like this. So um it works a little bit easier if you have them in kind of a cradle hold. So you're nursing her like
Yeah.
this. I've
Yeah.
got my bottle really close by. I'm gonna give her what she wants. She's asking for this. She's 6 months. She got a different temperament, so we gotta work with what we're
Yeah.
working with. And then I'm gonna keep this really close by. And then especially if I see her drifting off to sleep, I'm gonna give her what she's needing in that moment. And then I'm gonna slowly bring this bottle in
Oh, okay.
and I'm gonna try to offer now, see if she'll take the bottle. That's kind of one
Okay.
thing. And it may be like the first part when you do that, honestly, it may be like 3/4 of the feeding at the breast and then a fourth of the bottle. And then you
Yeah.
might have to it may be incremental. So that's kind of
Okay.
one thing I would try. Because she's 6 months, Ashley, you kind of have
I'm sorry, she's actually 7 months. She turned 7 months on the 22nd. So
okay.
she's
So you have options. Some babies and some families want to do early transition off bottles. And so if the baby is ready, sitting up, taking solids already, all the
Oh yeah,
things,
she's standing. She's like pulling herself up. Oh yeah, yeah.
a alternative to the cup method would be either a weighted straw cup or a honey bear straw cup. I may have a honey bear straw cup here. If I have one, I'll grab it and show it to you on demo.
Okay.
But basically, with the honey bear straw cup, it literally looks like a jar of honey with a straw sticking in there. You're like, I probably could make this myself at home and I not just spend the $25 I've spent on it. But it goes into the honey bear jar or cup. I'll see if I have one here in my office in just a second.
Okay.
And the difference of it between like a sippy cup or a weighted straw cup even is that you can kind of push on, it's a very soft honey cup looking kind of thing, and you can
Okay.
actually push on it. So when you put it to her mouth, you can give it a little bit of a push to like make milk go to her. And so some babies will, and you kind of will model a lot, like you'll kind of mimic and model how she should do it, how she should drink from that. And a couple of days of modeling that, she could possibly transition to that. And if she does well with that, then I would go to a weighted straw cup.
Okay.
Yeah. So, the other one is that sometimes these babies will let you, if they're refusing all the way, it's something about a position change. So having her, as weird as it sounds, lay on her back and feed the bottle like this to her, seeing if you have a better outcome.
Okay.
Some babies just have different preferences, and so that
Okay.
can be helpful when we're having some of that refusal. The last thing that I would try if you're still struggling is I would just take the nipple off of the bottle and just let her play with this throughout the day to like make this feel, because something about this for whatever reason triggered her unsafety. Like this isn't safe anymore to me. So I would just let her play with
Okay.
this throughout the day, touch it, bite on it, whatever it is. And then I may
Okay.
even try to hold on, I'm fixing this. I may even try to give this to her empty with no milk. So she again associates this being safe. And then if you
Okay.
do that a couple times and you've won her safety back of it, then I would try with actual milk in here.
Okay.
So those are some
Okay.
like of my high trips. I do bottle refusal consults, very easy to do virtually. So I'll have my contact information should you need more support after this session.
Okay. Thank you so much. I
You are
appreciate
so
that.
welcome.
Anybody else? You can unmute your mic and ask your question.
I have another question.
Sure.
The I'm looking at the picture on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
and it says that by day 5 and 7, you should
Mm-hmm.
have like 1.5 to 2 ounces. Is
Mm-hmm.
that per breast or is combined?
Great question. It's combined from both
Oh,
breasts. Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all these in the diagram are from both breasts. And so even when I gave the reference of 3 to 4 ounces earlier, that is for both breasts.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good questions. I mean, they
Great
wrote some
question.
questions in for sure.
And I would say that sometimes you have very different experiences. And if you had challenges with your first daughter not nursing, you can get really excited that they nursed really well with the second one. So if you know that bottles are going to be any part of your breastfeeding journey to try to deviate from having bottle bottle refusal, my apologies, I would introduce a bottle around 3 to 5 weeks. And when you are giving a bottle, I would also make sure that somehow you're placing an order. So I'm telling my body, hey, baby's getting a bottle, but I still need this milk. And so you're requesting and demanding from your body that it makes that milk still. Otherwise, if you just give a bottle of formula and you want to have or anything else, you want to have a full milk supply, the baby is going to start getting more than your body is making, and your body's not getting those signals that it needs to make and that milk, or that you need that milk still.
Okay. Um, I had another question. I just forgot. Sorry, mom's brain.
Okay,
No,
go
it's
ahead.
okay.
Um, and so when I pump
Mm-hmm.
and I'm breastfeeding, can I pump from one breast while I'm breastfeeding with another one, or
Yeah, it's not a requirement, but I support all kind of families. So I support families that are stay at home where they may never need a pump ever because they're not going to be away from their babies, and so their babies may never need a bottle. And so we're having a different kind of appointment session education being disseminated. Then I have families that are going to be returning back to work. And so, just as you mentioned, they may want to start to slowly build a small reserve for going back to work so that they can continue to give their baby their breast milk in their absence. And so, in those situations, we may have a baby that, especially as your milk supply starts to increase, that the baby gets very full and satiated off of one breast, meaning they may or may not take both breasts of feeding, which is common. The volumes and amount of milk you make throughout the day are going to vary, which is very normal. In the middle of the night, your prolactin levels, which is the hormone that tells your body to make milk, they start to really like up the ante and surge. And then first thing in the morning, you have a higher milk amount. So that's usually when I encourage my families to either use little apparatuses such as with some guidance with Hakas, not every single feeding. This little tool can go on your other breast and gently and passively pull milk off. Or you could nurse one side and have the pump on the other side. You could nurse and then decide to pump that breast afterward. It's just kind of about what works for you. It's not a necessity, but if you're wanting to collect extra milk for going back to work, or I want to be able to have a bottle for my partner to feed, those are some options that you have.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We got a question from Ashley regarding you said honey bear straw cup.
Yes. Honey
Okay.
Bear straw cup. Let me see if real quick if I can find if I have one in the office. I might have one here.
Okay. And then Ashley Tolliver, did you have a question too? I thought I saw you unmute your mic. You had a question as well?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. Okay. So once you get back, for sure.
Okay.
I never heard of the honey bear straw cup. I got to see this myself.
I got it in my notes for future months to come.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Okay, there's not one here. I probably gave it away. But this is what a weighted straw cup looks like. And the
Mhm.
Honey Bear straw cup, it looks literally like a jar, like a little thing of honey that's shaped like the bear, but it's very soft. So like the one that you get in the grocery store is very like hard plastic. A
Mhm.
straw is sticking out of it, very similar to this one. And you just give a couple of squeezes. So if you look on like Amazon sells them, it's called Honey Bear straw cup. Is
Okay.
literally the word.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was looking at the right one, because I'm on Amazon right now, and so there is one. It's called Honey Pot 3-in-1, but I don't think that's it. And then
Okay, let
there
me
is.
see if I can find it real quick, and I'll show it on the camera for you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to get the right one. There,
No,
there.
I
Oh,
want you to
no, it's
have the right
good.
thing.
Yeah.
This is your session of your time. I want to make sure that you're getting the resources that you need. And I
Thank
can
you.
probably even drop it in the chat. Let me see if I can find it first.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hmm.
Of course. Okay, I went right to it. So, okay, now you should be able to see it. Can you see it there?
Yes. Okay, so
This is the
that's
one
it.
right
Okay,
here. Here, I'll drop
perfect.
the um product link. See if it'll just let me copy. Is that
And
okay, Rita?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, make it easy.
thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
So you said you can like squeeze the bottom, and because she's not going to know how to suck it up a straw,
Yep. So you
right?
can squeeze this part like right here in the middle. You can actually squeeze that part. It's very pliable to just squeeze.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and
Not
then she'll
stiff.
get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you'll kind of want to model to her like this one comes in a 3-pack, so you might even put something in it, and you might kind of like
Drink
drink
too.
from it, just to show
Yep.
her how it works. They
Okay.
learn a lot at that age.
Hmm.
The last little piece of it, Ashley, is that she also could be dealing with some distractibility, and that's very common for her age. They have high distractibility, meaning they just want to focus on everything um, under the sun. And so going into an environment that's like, you know, it's a long link, but it's there. Dark, quiet. I would even put some delta wave frequencies on if you can. Sometimes that will just calm their nervous system and just reset their energy and get them back to the breast. So I'm putting it in the chat for you. Um, you can find those on like Spotify, Amazon Music. Those frequencies will just talk to her nervous system and your nervous system because, hey, you're going back to work next week, and this is a stressful time if your baby is not taking a bottle and they have. So it will just
You telling
reset.
me.
It will reset everybody's nervous system and just allow you to be able to navigate this a little bit
Okay.
more calmer. And then she's going to go off of your energy. And that's with everybody in here. Like our babies, our children, my girls know when
Yeah.
my day has been like, mommy
Hmm.
is up here today. She is up here. And we're human. And I really just feel like embracing the emotions that we're feeling, the emotions that we experience are real and they are valid. And we don't have to stay in emotions that don't serve us well. We can vibrate somewhere differently. But if we try to just say, like, I'm not feeling that, and we fight it, more resistance builds up in our bodies, and that energy gets transferred to those around us, like everyone, not just our children, our spouses, our family members, anyone in the room. All that energy is just being transferred. So I hope that that was helpful for you. Melody, Joey, Lisa, do you guys have any questions while you have access to me?
Ashley Tolliver had another question before.
Okay.
So if you're ready to ask your question, Ashley, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I think you had answered it earlier about the laid back positioning. I was just wondering, like, if in that position with a baby who has like a high palate
Mm-hmm.
and the latching is difficult or becomes difficult,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's practice, air quotes, right? I know it's going to be helpful, but does the saliva help like anything with more milk production, like her just being on the boob, even if it's not an effective latch? I hope that makes sense. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, it does. So what I like to call it is the dessert feeding sometimes. And so sometimes you may start off with a bottle, giving her everything that she needs, especially while you guys are kind of working and overcoming the latch challenge. And then the breast can actually be dessert. And so there's still some amount of stimulation that's happening. That's a hormone trigger that may increase your oxytocin, which will allow your milk to eject out easier. So the oxytocin is a hormone that's called the love hormone, the ooh and the ah, those warm feelings. And so that can increase whenever the nipples are stimulated. So suckled on, licked on, saliva exchange happening, that can help with that. And then that sends a message to your brain to release milk. And so if you were to do like a pump session after that, you may get a little bit more milk because of that stimulation and that bonding and that love and that warm, fuzzy feeling that that elicits.
Thank you.
And then for the layback latch, if the palate is really high, so that means that the palate may look, that's the top of the roof of the mouth, may look something like that. The beauty in the layback latch is that when you're really doing layback well, your breast is literally going to be like up in the air. So when this baby goes to latch, no matter, even if they have this high palate, they're just landing right on top, and that nipple is going right up where it should to the roof of the mouth. That elicits the suck. So when it lands not straight back like this, but up here, that's what's going to elicit that release of milk.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good question. Good question.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have any questions? Feel free to unmute your mic.
I guess I do have another question. So,
Sure.
how long am I supposed to breastfeed for? I guess so. Does a baby just naturally start to wean off? That's what I've heard. Like, I've been trying to research it, but I guess if you can kind of talk about baby, like she's eating and everything, like she eats 3 times a day, like she's eating solids and all that, she's 7 months. But I know breast milk has to be given up to 12 months, right? I think.
Even beyond that, from own personal experience, I nursed my first 15 months. My second one went 2 years, and I had to pry her off. So that brings me
Oh, wow.
to answer your question, it can be parent-led or it can be baby-led. So parent-led is more, I am ready to wean. I'm going to start the weaning process. And that generally for most that feel like they are wanting to make it to a year, it usually starts around like, I have families start at 10, 11 months, start the weaning process. To it's baby led, and it may be these slight adjustments that so up until 1 years old, breast milk, formula, whatever kind of milk is the baby's primary nutrition. But after 1 years old, food becomes the main source of their nutrition. And so then breast milk, while it's great, it has immune protection, especially if
Mhm.
they're in daycare, all the things, it becomes secondary to food. And so there's just like this little transition. And so some families will decide, hey, after the first 12 months, I will let you have the breast whenever I'm available and there's milk there, but I'm not going to pump anymore. That's a journey that some families take. I have some families that decide my baby's in daycare. I want them to continue to get the antibody protection. Even though the baby's over 12 months, I'm going to still pump while I'm away from them because I want them to have my human milk for antibody protection. And it could be that you just decide that, you want to stop. We have families stop before 12 months. The goal is really a minimum of 6 months is what the WHO recommends. They actually not recommend 2 years, but early intervention and a goal of at least 6 months. So to start the transition, it looks like I said, it can be parent-led or baby-led. So some babies just slowly start to gravitate more towards food and they're just kind of lose interest in the milk because they're like, food's really good and
Yeah.
fun, and I'd rather do that. And then so sometimes they don't do that, and it's more of a parent-led. And so usually the nighttime is the last week feeding to go because it's the hardest one. It's like the bedtime to put them to sleep for the parent and the baby. Like it's the most
Yeah.
challenging one to go. But you may start exchanging out that morning nursing session with offering of food first, and then lots of distractive activities. And then that midday nap one also starts to go away. And again, you're helping them find ways to going to sleep without the breast.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was very helpful.
Of course.
Any other questions? We're approaching close to the end of the workshop. So right now it's 6:47. We'll take a couple more questions and then we're going to have wrap up and giveaways. So
Yes.
any other questions before we do the wrap up? Feel free while you got Tiffani here, ask those questions.
I have another question.
Sure. We love it.
You said that a good moment to offer the bottle will be like between 3 to 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, you should like do it only once a day so my partner can feed the baby, or when it's too much, too many times the bottle. I want to continue breastfeeding, of course. But and when do you recommend
At
to use
least
the
once a
bottle,
day
in the
should suffice.
morning or at night?
That's kind of what works best for your family. Like you may notice that, hey, it really helps to have your partner be able to do the feedings at night when you're doing bedtime with your other child. So it kind of is about what works best. Or I got to get her off to school in the morning. It's easier to do a bottle, have my partner feed while I take her to school, or vice versa. So it's kind of
Okay.
looking at what's going to work best for your family. But in order for them to learn the skill and kind of sustain the skill and keep the familiarity, I would say at least once a day until you see them doing well with it. And then you can probably space it out for about one to every 3 days.
Okay. And when my partner is feeding the baby,
Mm-hmm.
should I pump at the same time so that way my body doesn't feel like uh there is no sucking for my baby at that time? Or I don't know if my milk is gonna go down because I'm not feeding my baby at that time.
Yes, absolutely. So you do want to kind of, I gave the analogy of like really you're kind of the baby's restaurant. So you're their restaurant and they're your VIP customer. So the more times they feed, it's like an order being placed. Your body is going to make more milk. Your restaurant's going to do really good. It's going to stay in business.
Mm.
So if your partner is feeding the bottle, somehow you want your body to still know that I need that milk that the baby is getting. So you have a couple different options. If you're going to if you're going to pump and whatever milk you get, then the partner feeds that milk while you go get, 3 hours of rest or you go work with the other child. It could also look like I'm going to prepare for this in the morning. So I'm going to nurse and then pump, 10 or 15 minutes after our nurse to kind of build a little bit of reserve. And then my partner is going to feed that bottle that evening. But you've at least made some kind of extra order for that bottle that the baby is getting that afternoon.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Good. And keep in mind, this call is being recorded. It will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you ever want to go back and listen to those questions and those answers, you'll have the opportunity to do so. And the recap
Yes.
will be sent out to you via email with the YouTube link and then all of Tiffani's information as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Joey and Melody and Lisa, can you guys either drop in the chat or come off mute and let us know kind of where you are? Are you, if you are still expecting, if you're a couple of weeks postpartum? If you're able to either drop it in the chat or come off mute and let us know. And Kata, you sound so much more prepared this time. I'm really excited for you and your journey. Like I can commend your you taking the initiation to really learn and get more knowledge.
Yes, because I had too many issues when I was breastfeeding my first baby. I
Mm-hmm.
had a blocked duct,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I had like lashing problems as well.
Okay.
I was bleeding and I was sore, and I had to go in person to see a lactation consultant.
Okay.
Um, I had all kind of like the nipple chills.
Mm-hmm.
And I got these silverette cups this time.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know, what are your thoughts about these silverette cups? Like they're like metal. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't
I
used
know
them. I
exactly
brought
what you're
them this
talking
time.
about. So a lot of families use those to help either prophylactically or if they get nipple damage. So I think that they're a tool, like with anything else. They're a tool like a nipple shield. Sometimes we have to go to that toolbox and start to pull out those tools. I will say the main thing about the Silverette is making sure that you allow them to come off at some point, because if you have damaged nipples, they really can heal from your own breast milk being expressed and put on them, and oxygen, so air. So if you're just sleeping in them, breathing in them, walking around in them 24/7, your nipples never really get a chance to get the oxygen that they need. Plus, if you leak milk and that milk is pooling inside of that silverette, it creates a very moist environment, and that can actually set you up for things like yeast.
Oh wow. Okay. It's good
So
to
they're a
know.
great tool. I would just say if you use them, allow your breast to get some air. And the absolute most amazing healer of any damage is your own milk. So all those antibodies and that colostrum will really help with those healing. And then I would also say you definitely want to get to the root cause. Pain is very common, but it's not normal. So you should not be having bleeding, cracking, any of those things. That means that likely we have a misaligned latch. And so maybe again that baby is coming straight on at the breast and not really, that breast is not being angled up where that nipple will stay upright. So adjusting that latch, and then ensuring that you have the baby in an optimal position.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember how I did it on the first time. It
Yes.
was like 2 years ago, but it's like I don't know. I feel I forgot everything.
Well, and now we have so many more tools and resources and equipment. Like Mommy Care Kit has so many amazing products that help families thrive in postpartum. We have a lot more families that are re-entering the workforce, and so we need things like convenient wearable pumps that they have in their toolkit.
Right.
Those things can really be supportive of families continuing how long they're able to extend their breastfeeding journeys.
Good question. Good question.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to stop the recording at this time.
Yes.